In order to stop the coming of the Black Winter, King Thor of Asgard has made a devil's deal with Galactus. Can he save the universe? Not if his friends stop him first. Let's catch up on Thor issues number 3 and number 4, shall we? So, picking up from where we last left off, Thor, the new herald of Galactus, has been traveling around the universe with the World-Eater looking for 5 specifically powerful worlds that, once devoured, should theoretically allow Galactus to turn back the Black Winter. Unfortunately, no one decided to fill in Beta Ray Bill, fellow hammer slinger and longtime friend of Thor and the Asgardians, of what's going on. Bill, and admittedly you can't fault his reasoning here, jumps to the conclusion that if Thor is working with Galactus to absorb worlds, then surely he's lost his damn mind or is being manipulated somehow. And oh man, if you love that kind of jumping to conclusions, strap on in, because issue 3 is literally nothing but people jumping to conclusions about stuff. Bill figures that the only way to jog his friend's memory is to smack him upside the head with a hammer, because I mean hammers fix all problems in the Thor universe, am I right? King Thor is having absolutely none of this and swats Bill away like he was a fly, again showing that in the past these two may very well have been on even footing, but now Thor, being king of Asgard and a herald of Galactus gifted with the power cosmic, is way more powerful than Beta Ray Bill. Although admittedly it's not long after he says that out loud that Galactus, still needing to prove that he's the biggest swinging dick in the universe in this situation, decides to take Thor's cosmic powers away. Thor attempts to put Beta Ray Bill at ease by explaining what's going on, though admittedly he does a pretty crappy job of it, saying, hey, I'm the king of Asgard, I'm gonna save the universe, even if that means I do have to do bad things. He also conveniently leaves out mentioning that he's been trying to save as many people on these planets as possible and send them to Asgard for safekeeping until they can find new planets, but I guess if he did say that, we wouldn't get this fight to continue. Thor then again proves to be stronger than Beta Ray Bill in his jumping the gun abilities by saying, hey, you've come here and now not wearing your classic Asgardian costume, surely that means you wanted to fight. Not wanting to be outdone in gun jumping, Beta Ray Bill fires back by saying that surely through all these horrible things Thor has been doing working with Galactus, he shouldn't be worthy anymore and shouldn't be able to lift the hammer, even though he totally is, which should prove to him that he is worthy and is still doing good, but again, can't go there. Thor opts to prove exactly how worthy he is by summoning Bill's own hammer Stormbreaker to him and then breaking it over Mjolnir. Wow, what a dick move, King Thor, breaking your friend's hammer. Honestly, at this point, I'm thinking Beta Ray Bill does have a point. You are acting crazy, and you know what? Sif, the new Keeper of the Rainbow Bridge, agrees because she jumps on in to protect Bill from Thor. And issue 4 is all built around their showdown. Sif, who's actually showing that not only is she going to be taking part in this series way more than she did in the Aaron era, but she also showcases just how intelligent she can be when it comes to battle. She uses her newfound teleportation powers to actually send Thor's hammer away so he can't use it. Where? To where the ice giants dwell, of course. And it's here Donny Cates actually ends up planting a hell of a seed for what I'm sure will be future stories, and that is the newly heroic Loki, king of the ice giants, attempts to lift the hammer. And it's heavily implied that if Thor didn't call it back to him at that exact second, Loki might actually have been able to lift it himself, meaning that for the first time ever, he's officially worthy. But of course, none of this quite answers the question yet of why Thor is being such a dick to his friends and allies. Well, as he says, he's just trying to be the best all-father he can be, and the only example he's ever had in that regard is his own father Odin, who of course was a raging dickbag. Yeah, this revelation makes Thor pretty sad, but it is enough to make it so he's not going to try and fight his friends anymore. It's also here too, Galactus reminds him that he's on the frickin' clock. Though, again, not to be outdone by the Eater of Worlds, Thor reminds Galactus that he is most certainly not the boss in this situation by literally taking the power cosmic back from him by force, which is a thing he can apparently do now. From there, Thor and Galactus continue their mission to absorb all the necessary planets, and for the most part they go off without a hitch. Personally, I'm a fan of the planet made up entirely of psychic bears. I hope we get to learn more about them. Now, once Herald Thor makes it to the final planet, you think things are gonna get ugly as he's met by a whole armed force, but no, quite the opposite. These guys actually want to stand with Thor against the Black Winter. Thor is touched, but Galactus is impatient. He starts absorbing the planet before all the people on it can actually get to safety, meaning that a whole world pretty much dies on Thor's watch. Our hero is positively devastated and swears that once they deal with this Black Winter problem, he and Galactus are gonna have it out and that he's going to bring them to justice. That is, of course, if they survive the Black Winter, which statistically, it doesn't look too good as the comic comes to a close. And so that was Thor issue number 3 and number 4, everybody. And I gotta say, I think this was something of a mixed bag. I liked 4 definitely a lot more than I liked 3, mainly because Thor kinda acts like an unlikable jerk during it. I mean, I get what Cates is trying to say. He's trying to give us a complicated god of thunder who might actually be cracking under all the pressure of leadership, who's had himself a really bad example in his own father, who's kinda just making it up as he goes along. But right around the time he broke Bill's hammer, I really started to lose sympathy for the guy. It also didn't help that the whole confrontation beforehand was built entirely around characters leaping before they look and leaving out very important pieces of information that could have stopped the fight. The promise, though, of a Thor-Galactus showdown should be pretty damn cool, and I'm definitely excited to see where that's gonna go. Overall, I would give this a 7.5 out of 10.
Hey there everyone, Kate Joel again, and I just want to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. It means a lot to me. And hey, if you enjoyed the book I covered in this issue and want some comics of your own, might I recommend Book Depository? It's my #1 place for shopping for comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link down in the description, you'll actually be helping me out at the same time. You get something, I get something, everybody wins, right? So until next time everyone, I've been Joel, and I will see you in the next video.